right, we're live. What's going on, people? Nobody here watching right now, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to start this video for everybody who wants to watch later. What's going on, people? Sean Pierce Johnson here. So, it's a Sunday afternoon, and I've been testing out some pedals, getting ready to do some new demos and do some new reviews, and also building a pedal board of my own. Starting to get that whole thing going. Because there's gigs coming up and things have to happen. And one of the things that I notice a lot of people contending with is the idea of the rubber feet on the bottom of your pedal. Now, of course, this is my way huge Blue Hippo analog chorus Mark II, which is a fantastic chorus pedal, but I see a lot of people get a bit butthurt is one word that I like to use about these little rubber feet on the back of the pedal. And they're nothing to be afraid of. They're nothing to be scared of. And there's a very simple workaround to get your pedals that have rubber feet on the back of them on your pedal board. Now, of course, if you have a pedal that has rubber feet that were simply just stuck on the back, this is my Vertex steel string clean drive, which came with the just stick on rubber feet. It's very simple. Usually what I end up doing is just taking a flathead screwdriver, get it right underneath the glue, and just pop it off. Pure, plain, simple, nothing doing. And then just put the Velcro on as such. But for these guys, this is a little different because if you look very closely, you can kind of see it under the light. These rubber feet on the back of this way huge pedal, you can unscrew. And for me, since I've taken the back off this pedal, you can unscrew just by untightening it with your hand, and you can take the screw out and you can put it back in. Now, I've done this on a couple different way huge pedals, and most specifically, I have a way huge Aquapus on this pedal board over to the side, and you can very well do that. The one reason why I don't like doing that is because there's a certain amount of space in the enclosure that you have in order to, keep this thing on. So I just like to keep my pedals as neat as possible. I like to keep them in as good a condition as possible just in case I end up selling them later on down the road. So I saw this trick. This is not one that I came up with. I want to stress that first. This is not something that is not an original thought. It's just something that I saw many years ago and have had on my mind ever since, and don't see a lot of other people embracing or doing. So here's what you're going to need, and it's kind of weird, but since my wife is a crafty person, I have one of these. One of the secret things you're going to need is you're going to need some sort of heat gun, and this is an embossing tool for arts and crafty things. And you're going to need something to attach your pedal to the pedal board with. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use 3M Dual Lock. Of course, we all know 3M Dual Lock as the super intense Velcro. But be honest with you, they're starting to sell it in this package in your local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's. Look for Scotch Extremely Strong, and this is going to be what you will need. It's a little bit of an expense, but a little bit goes a long way, and I find that I'm really liking this. So here is what you're going to do. First things first, we're going to take it down here, and we are going to put the dual lock on the back of the Blue Hippo. So first things first, obviously you need to have it down, but you need to figure out where you're going to place the dual lock. Now usually I like just a nice long strip along the top and bottom, but since it's got this nifty little artwork of Dr. Huge, Mr. Huge over there, I am just going to go ahead and make a couple little separate things. Like I said, I just like to keep my pedals nice and neat and tidy so that if I ever end up needing to resell it, I can resell it and there's not that much of a problem. Now here's the key. We have our first strip of dual lock, but you're going to be repeating this for all the pedals at whatever size. You're going to cut 3 strips of this size. So in order to do that, Just put the dual lock back down. Don't worry, you can actually take it apart and then cut. There we go. Now this is going to be the tricky part because you just have the tacky sides, so just go ahead. Do your best. Okay, now here comes the sort of secret, tricksy part. First things first, when it comes to applying things, we're now on like step, what, 3 or 4? You're also going to need some rubbing alcohol and some cotton swabs. Now the reason you're going to need this is because you want the bottom of the pedal as clean as you can possibly get it. So I have 2 bottles. I usually keep around 71% and 91%. That's just me personally. But all you're going to do is just clean off the back of the pedal. It might, depending on the strength, remove a little bit of the finish, depending on what kind of pedal you have. But really, obviously we don't have that much dirt and grime on this one. This one has been kept in the box most of the time that I've had it, and only recently started going out into the real world and doing gigs. But basically you want it to be as clean as possible, and that's looking pretty good. Unfortunately for us, the stuff dries really fast, but if you want it to dry a little harder, faster, go ahead, take your heat gun, and that's it. Pretty simple. Now you can start to place it. So we have our first strip that we're going to put down. I'm going to go ahead and separate these guys ahead of time. Start with one of these guys. So here's kind of a nifty little trick, and this is the reason why we have the embossing gun or heat gun, whichever you have. Take off plastic backing and then go over the back of the dual lock with the heat gun. Now if you look closely at the dual lock, it's actually going to start making it flat. Now, that's not really the reason that we're doing this. You probably can't make it out because of the light, but what's happening is that the heat gun is making the glue on the back of the dual lock a little bit more tacky. So what you're going to see on the back here, as opposed to a dull white, is now somewhat glossy. So from there, go ahead, place that down right there on the pedal. Oh, it's all nice and warm. Yes, perfecto. I love my heat gun too. Such a great little tool. Now obviously, we can see that right there. That's not gonna, that might hold a little bit, you know, especially since I like to put this on top of the loop Velcro, but we need to keep going. We need more. So we're basically going to repeat the same exact step, except with this next piece, I like to just snap it right on in place. There we go. You can see we're starting to get level with the rubber feet there. Peel off the back, take the heat gun, you'll actually kind of see the glue on the back of the pedal kind of bubble up a little bit too, which is kind of nifty. Keep in mind that heat guns can get really hot, so you don't want to burn yourself, and you certainly don't want to damage your pedal. Look at how red that is in there. So keep that in mind. Now the other thing too with this last piece is I like to give this a blast with the heat gun as well, so that both sides are really tacky, and that when they start to come together and as they cool, that bond is gonna be a little bit stronger. All right, looking pretty good there. One last blast on this piece. One more there, looking pretty good. All right. Time's not really of the essence on this. It's gonna take a little while for it to really cool down. And I mean, I can really feel like it is definitely warm. You can sort of start feeling a little bit of a slide. Kind of just make sure you put down some good pressure. And there we go. So that is reaching above our rubber feet. And sure enough, we should be able to put that onto our pedal board, no problem. Now I'm gonna let this cool for a little bit before I go any further. Or at least I guess I could cut these other two pieces while we're here. You can do this to, obviously, other pedals as well. Kind of looks like Velcro Oreo from the side. Yes, it does. It's a Velcro Oreo. Now, obviously, there are tons of pedals that you can do this to. You can do it to, your wah pedal, like I just did, like right before I rolled camera on this video. That's always a classic because those are always really hard to attach to pedal boards unless you buy some sort of like mounting plate, which always seem to cost way more than they should. Personally, not a fan of that idea because I don't have all that money to spend. But I can buy dual lock, and dual lock works just as good. Now, the other thing too is obviously you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why isn't he cutting a fourth piece so that we can attach it to the board? Well, the reason I'm not doing that is because I like using a combination of dual lock and the loop side of the Velcro, the softer side of the Velcro, not the hard one. So right now I'm just cutting 6 pieces, 6 small pieces. These should be a little easier to handle. There's our Velcro Oreo, as Perfecto said. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, since these are a little smaller, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of keep these attached. But I'm going to do my best here. Pan the camera down so you can see this whole process. See, I know how to teach things sometimes. Oh, this is awesome. The heat gun stopped working. Somehow. Wouldn't you know it? Like, I'm trying to do something, like, nice and interesting, and the heat gun stops working. Which is fantastic. Let's just try plugging it back in. Well, isn't that lovely? Well, that's probably blew a breaker. I have it plugged into a power conditioner right now, so I'm actually doing this in my studio right now. So I don't think I busted a breaker, but really, this practice works whether or not you use the heat gun or you do. It still will work well. I just like the way that the heat gun makes the glue on the back of the dual lock or the Velcro just a little bit more tacky, and I still think that we are, I mean, I've done this stacking thing many times, so we should be all good to go. Just gonna put on the top piece. There we go. Yeah, lined up really nice. And there. All right. And that's what it looks like. You know, it's clearly over the rubber feet. Kind of looks a little funny, and you might think like this is kind of excessive for just one pedal, but I don't know. I like it. You know, I don't like messing a whole lot with my stuff. If I get it and I want it on my board, I just want to put it on the board. Obviously, could be considered messing with it, but it works for me. So let's put it back on the board. Yeah, the dual lock is tough stuff, Chris. That dual lock is one of those things like if you've seen Pete Thorne's video on with Dave Friedman where Dave is building his new pedal board, they had to take friggin' what are those things called? Crowbars in order to get the pedals off. But what's cool with this, and we'll probably get some stuff. Oh, Diego, what up, buddy? It's been a long time. How you doing, buddy? All right, so let's put this thing back on. We'll plug the power in. We'll plug the in, or the out, and the in. This pedal board can get kind of tight, but you just want to place it down, and boom, there you go. And it's staying pretty good. Wow, can kind of like, yep, there you go. So there you have it. It's pretty easy. You can do it to just about any pedal with those screw-on rubber feet. All you really need is a working heat gun, you know. You're gonna need yourself some dual lock. You're gonna need just a little bit of patience, something to cut. Kitchen shears are always good. Let's see, what else are good? Kitchen shears, XActo knife if you're of that persuasion, you know. But that's it. It's really, I mean, we've been doing this for about 17 minutes, so you know, if I wasn't yakking so much, I could probably do it a lot quicker. So you could easily do one pedal in 5 to 10 minutes. You could cut your dual lock before you start applying it to any of your pedals. I'm building a new, bigger board today, too. I'm just going to use industrial Velcro. Dual lock is hard to come off. Right about the heat gun. Jay, I use the industrial strength Velcro, too. And that's basically what's on the bottom of the board, or that's what's on the board allowing me to put the stuff on. I don't like doing the two-side dual lock thing because that you do need a crowbar for. So I find that this works a lot better for me as a guy who wants something to maybe stay put a little bit, but also needs to have something come off the board every now and again as well. Which, you know, I'll show you this. Now that it's cooled down a little bit, say you want to take that pedal off the board again. You can, there we go. If you get underneath it, you can actually take it off. Now, this part ended up coming off just a little bit, but not too much. You can see that we have these two guys are gone, but they're still down here on the board, and they very easily come off. So that works. Smaller pieces are a lot easier to handle when it comes to dual lock than bigger pieces. Bigger pieces obviously hold on to more. But yeah, it's a really simple thing. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, and it's a nice simple fix to a very common problem. I actually did that to this wah pedal down here just before we got started rolling, and it's, again, you know, you could literally pick up this entire board. Actually, why don't we see if I can do that? Let's see if I can pick up this entire board by just grabbing the blue hippo and the wah pedal. Yep, pretty much. I don't want to drop all that. I don't want to drop all that. That's a lot of money that I don't want to lose out on. So that's it. You know, you don't have to take the rubber feet off of your pedals in order to get them onto your board. It's a very simple fix. It's one that doesn't take a whole lot of time, and if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, hey, you tried something out and it's a brand new thing to think about. So thanks guys for watching me do this little thing. I appreciate you all tuning in and chiming in. I know you guys have some questions that came up, so I'll go back and watch and see if I can reach out to you guys. More great stuff coming up, of course, so please, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button. All the support means I can do way more stuff for you guys like this, and hopefully do much longer ones than this, and we can talk more. So anyway, thank you so much, my friends. I appreciate you joining me. Wishing you all a great tone, happy stomping, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.